Okay.
Okay, welcome back to the Jamez King in the Morning Show. I am your host, Jamez King L. And we back with the good brother. And we're going to continue where we left off. And we left off on my 11th question. What are your plans and solutions for poverty, criminal justice, black wealth, education, housing, health, and community relations, information, and resources to improve our community?
That's a whole lot in one sentence. Mr. King got a whole lot there.
That was courtesy of Brother Steve, that one right there.
Yeah, I can see it. That's got him all over, boy. I'm telling you. Well, you know, it's funny. Since Brother Steve sent that question in, well, let me just say this about Brother Steve. Well, Brother Steve and I, we worked on one solution that we worked on together to try to address some of that situation that in that long question was the Atlantic City First ordinance. Mm-hmm. And Steve and I put that together. What it would have done was it would have shared the economic opportunities with all of Atlantic City residents. From construction to housing to anything that had to do with Atlantic City residents would have been first, and after which other folks would have been included also. Unfortunately, that ordinance didn't pass, and folks didn't feel that Atlantic City residents should have been first.
Wow.
In having part of the fruits of the labor, so to speak. So I would say now that how to ensure the injustice and the depravity of the community in general, because you just can't be for one, you got to be for all. I think we just have to have a plan together. It comes down to putting together a plan, identifying what we want to have done, and then implementing a plan to accomplish what we need to get done. So it's gonna. I don't have an S on my chest. I'm not Superman. So it's going to be a collective effort on all Atlantic City people, the haves and the have-nots, to be able to come together civilly with concerns and a plan addressing issues that they see. And I would just say the major problem with things is financial stability for people and individuals and families. If we can't share, because we all pay taxes, and we should be able to share in the funds that are being spent by local government, by the state government, and we also spend money with other entities and business. And everyone should be able to share in the wealth that's being spun around or being spent versus having it confined to one group or one percentage of people.
I must interject. Now, one thing I do realize about that is when you go through the 48 blocks of Atlantic City and you look at all the businesses out there, black business is at an all-time low. At one time, I remember the whole town was filled with black business. So we were able to recircle that money back into our community 3, 4, 5 times. We barely have any competitive businesses at all, far as food supply stores, beauty supply stores, fast food services for even. Like the black community spends so much money on pizza and Chinese food, so forth and so on. But there's not really much of a choice far as black businesses to directly compete. You know what I mean? Because we're not selling the same foods they're selling. And then you only have Kelsey and Kim's, Yardies, Fish Heads, and then you're almost done. You know what I mean? What would you What would you try to do different that could stimulate black business in Atlantic City?
Well, you know, the sad thing is about that, Mr. King, is that when you look at and I'm sorry, I can't hold no punches.
Right.
When you look at government overall, and I'm not saying this to be biased or anything, we're in charge.
That's right.
Council, Housing Authority, Board of Education. So, you know, sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror
That's right.
and see, well, who is doing something wrong? And I'm not saying this to be, as folks like to say, militant, but we should be able to talk about things that are affecting our community as men and women, regardless if you're black or white. And sometimes it appears that when black men or black women start to speak about our problems and start identifying sources of the other problem, we looked at as, oh man, there they go.
Right.
But you know, that's a reality, and that's something we have to face. Now, I would think that we need to be more proactive in making it more competitive. You know, that's you know, you look at why the state's here, because we weren't doing what we're supposed to. You know, so if we make it more competitive for all people, and black folks and all people,
Right.
to have access to funding and look at these agencies and hold these agencies accountable.
Right.
You know, you got the CRDA, you got the state, and it's not affirmative action. It's not a handout. It's that we pay taxes.
That's right.
And if we pay taxes, that same taxes is funding these other projects, these other developments that are happening in our communities and outside of our community. So we as a people should be able to participate in something like that. You know, it'd be one thing if I ain't paying no money, but I'm paying money every day.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, if I'm paying money, I'm an architect.
That's right.
So I should be able to participate in these things that are funded by public money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
we need to hold agency accountable and not be swayed by persuasive folks who want to give you a two-piece.
For real. That's all that's been going on. We have another question. What have you done personally to date for the community?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I've just recently completed, and I should have brought that with me, was a proposal to redesign Renaissance Plaza. And as we all know, if you've been down to Renaissance Plaza, that looks like an occupied territory. You got this patrol tower out there with the police and the glass, and you know, you got all types of individuals out there who are not harassing, but soliciting and begging, and drugs being sold out there, and it's a shame. Harassing the seniors, harassing the young folks. And I just recently put together a proposal on how to redevelop that whole area. And see, if you look at the Renaissance Plaza, and it wouldn't have cost the city anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you explain further?
Well, as I said, you know, this proposal would have taken Renaissance Plaza. If you look at Renaissance Plaza, it looks like a prison. And most times when things are developed in our community, African American community, it's built on a way that it's built for containment. It's built for out of sight, out of mind. It's not built for inducing or promoting circulation like you have like at the walk and everything where people are walking around. It's closed in. It's like a prison. So what that does, that's just attracts undesirables. So what I did at no cost, was put together a proposal to take that whole area and redesign it the way it should be designed. Like I said, I'm an architect, I'm a developer, so those are the skills that I have that I can do. And change that into a property that would look like the Walk, where stores are on the street side, the entrances, versus having a lone wall going down Kentucky Avenue and a lone wall going down Arctic Avenue. They had this mural up there that so faded now, you don't even know what it looks like. And these are the kind of things that they put in our community that we are forced to accept. And that was one of the things that I wanted to change. And I'm not even council person in office. And like I said, it wouldn't have cost the city any money. I generated the budget for it, the soft costs, which are the professional fees, and the hard costs, which are the construction costs, and presented it. And even CRDA was in favor of it. So that's one of the things that I've been doing since I've been out. I've also did a little housing project right across the street from the Soldiers' Home on Drexel Avenue. So I've been active and you know, going around and patrolling my area, Bungalow Park, and if I see something outside of Bungalow Park, and because you know the crime is getting ridiculous in the city, and just you know picking up trash and cleaning up lots and you know, just trying to maintain the city, trying to make it look nice, you know, because...
That's good to hear. You rarely hear anyone running for office or in office saying that, you know?
Yeah.
They almost act like that's not important. And that pretty much is. I have another question for you. Will your office have monthly, will your office have monthly community meetings to inform the community? If so, how and where?
Well, we might not have monthly because that might be, I'm just saying, I don't know how that's going to work at this point, but I know that we will be in contact with the, you know, the civic associations and the, you know, because they meet, like you had the First Ward Civic Association and you had the Bungalow Park Civic Association. We would definitely be in contact with them, and we might have some quarterly meetings. I'm not going to say monthly. But we might have some quarterly meetings, and it all depends. You know, once I get in, if the constituents feel that you know we want to have monthly, then I have to do what the constituents want.
Right.
That's who's elected me. But you know, to me, how I like to get things done. So you spend too much time meeting, that means you ain't getting nothing done. I don't like it. I don't like a lot of smoke and mirrors.
That's right.
See, I'm a person of action. I'd like to get in here, get things done, and keep it moving. Now, I come back and report to you. I report to you with something that I accomplished, not something I'm going to come back and make a report on. So, you know, meetings are good. I'm not that much of a meeting person. I mean, I do meet because you have to meet. I mean, that's business. And that's part of the process. But if I'm meeting too much, then how am I getting something done? So, but we'll meet as much as we can to make sure. The main thing, more importantly, you have to have an agenda so you can meet on something.
That's right. Now, as you see, I represent the black media. What do you think about black media having access to the office?
Why not? What's the difference between black media and white media and brown media? And
Well, the
yellow
difference
media?
is, based on the record, not $1 has been spent through the whole council board, the mayor's office, the CRDA. Not $1 has been spent with Vibe 609 Radio and Media. Not one. So that's why, and we're the only black-owned media company out here. So I find it strange that not $1 has been spent with us.
Well, if that's something where it's a standard, where they're spending money with medias.
They spend it with Lang City Press. They spending it with Breaking AC. And I'm pretty sure there are other sources they spending with in Philadelphia. Outside of Atlantic City. Including Power 99.
Well, I don't see why, what's it, 106?
Yep, all of them. Vibe 609.
Vibe 609. Well, they should be mine. They should have it. They should have a part of it. Why not?
That's right.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, you got to present your case in anything you do.
Right.
You know, and I work for the federal government. They said, Robert, you can do anything you want to with the administration, but you have to do two things. You got to justify and you got to tell me how much it costs.
Right.
Now, if you can justify,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you can prove the cost,
Right.
then you can get it done. So that's what we have to do. Businesses, any business,
Yes.
you know, you have to put the facts down on, well, this is what's being done here, and why aren't this being done over there? And it's only fair,
Right.
you know. So that's all we're looking at is fairness.
Yep, I appreciate that. And we actually do the work because we our station, which is owned by me and R Bay, which is my lady, we own it 50-50 straight down the middle. You know what I'm saying? We're not scared of separating from each other because we representing black power and black love and everything else. You know, so we be everywhere. You know what I mean? Where we're needed. You know, we touch on all the issues that focus on us, the community. And I was telling them at the last meeting that they had at City Hall, it was the I believe it was the Citizen Advisory Council meeting. Mm-hmm. And I was telling them there, it's like a lot of those places aren't filling up because they're not tapping into media like ours. We directly tap into who they need to tap into. So it makes no sense to me. Like, for example, at a CRDA meeting we was at when they was passing these rules through where they gave up $1.4 or $1.7 million for an entertainment budget. Vibe 609 or any black business was not affiliated in that to my knowledge. You know what I mean? Especially the local ones. None of us even knew about it. By the time we found out, it was already given up.
Wow.
You know, and I don't think that's fair. You know,
No, it's not.
you know, we're gonna keep putting this out there so everybody can see. Because at that meeting, I was telling them at the meeting that after the meeting is over and we put this out, the next meeting is gonna be packed. And true to the word, that video is already up to like 1,000 views. And when you was talking about the situation with the Renaissance Plaza, we were showing them out there actually giving tickets out to people that are homeless. They don't have a job. They don't have anything. They barely even have a hustle, you know, and they giving them tickets. So you know what that's going to lead up to. More beds inside jail and more taxpayer money being wasted. You know, we were out there. We kind of slowed that down because they left when they seen the cameras come out. After that, we witnessed that fact that the people at Little Caesars was feeding the people, you know, basically like pizza and chicken to clean up all this trash and all this nonsense that go on in Renaissance Plaza. So it felt real good to hear you touch on Renaissance Plaza because that is a nightmare. And a lot of the women that I get to talk to and that call us up, they complain about it a lot. But what I don't want to see is a lot of those brothers and sisters that are misfortunate and down on their luck. People that can't afford the proper medicine, so they out there self-medicating. I would hate to see them get treated like trash. I would like to see something get established where as though they can assist these people or give them a place where they can enjoy themselves without being a hazard to everybody else.
Right.
And I definitely agree that we need a real supermarket that sell healthy products. And I want to know, this wasn't even on the questions. The questions is over. I feel as though 911 has been weaponized against black people. What steps would you take to correct this behavior?
Well, when you say weaponized, Mr. King, what do you actually mean when you say weaponized?
What I mean is you have store owners, you have visitors, you have tourists. You have a lot of different types of people that specifically call the 911 on black people, particularly. I mean, you could check any numbers anywhere, and you'll see that the highest percentage of people being called on is black people. And I personally went to a store just to see what was going on in there, and they called the cops on me. I was accused of being a thief. All types of things. And I thank God I filmed the whole thing and put it online so everybody can see it. So they can see personally what happens to the black people out here. Like I was personally called the police on, and y'all know I'm a law-abiding national. So it made no sense for that to even happen. That was just racism at its finest. So the guy, in my personal opinion, he didn't think he could shoot me a fair one, you know what I'm saying, and win. So what they do is, instead of even trying to come at you that way, they call the police, because they know it's a high percentage chance that the police are going to use over excessive violence or potentially kill you for them, you know? When the police came up, he was happier than the gay guy in prison, you know? It didn't go according to how he wanted it to go because I know the law. But for the brothers and sisters that don't know the law and that don't have control over their mental capacity without being violent, they might react in the wrong way. I knew to leave the store immediately to be within law, and then I knew I could follow up from there. But what I'm saying is, they are purposely calling police to have black people arrested, if not killed. What can be, I think that's a serious issue. We're ready to do a special on this. We're going to do a special. We're going all the way to New York with it. But I want to know, what do you think about that? They're using it as a weapon. They instead of grabbing their own gun, they call it 911 and using 911 as a weapon to kill black people, particularly black men.
Yeah, yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's a sad state, and with the current climate that we have in America, that type of action is getting more prevalent towards black men, and it's something that was prevalent all along. We never really had freedom, so to speak. We've always been under attack. And, you know, we've always had to be 3 to 6 times more competent to do the same job as someone else. So the thing that I had to commend you, because it comes down to education. And even though with there being 911 is being weaponized in that regard, we can still disarm them by having the education to know how to approach a situation. And now let me say that goes to you young folks out there.
That's right.
You need to get an education. You know, all this whodunit and this using profanity like it's the right English, we need to stop. And we need to correct ourselves in what we're doing to deal with situations. You can't deal with a situation if you're not in the right frame of mind. And guess what? By the time help comes, or we got a mother or a father who's grieving. So America, as great as it is, it still has its shortcomings. We're still fighting in a battle, unfortunately, in 2019. So one of the things, and I guess, Mr. King, and I'm glad you brought that experience out. But I think that we're not going to never stop that. I mean, they're going to weaponize it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here.
You think that some laws could possibly be passed, whereas though if people build a history of calling police on black people, maybe that could be considered a hate crime, specifically because it's aimed at one specific people? Or could they possibly be fined or like a short jail sentence for wasting taxpayers' money on these calls, pulling these police from doing their job to dealing with stuff that's not even that important?
Right.
You know?
Well, I think that possibly could be looked into and explored, because when Mayor Gilliam was running for office, and after he got elected, I was on the transition team for planning and development. And one of the things that was brought up in that committee was that when you have these rooming houses of these absentee landlords, that when the police have to come there so many times for the same building or the same offense, that, and I don't know if city council or the mayor acted on this, but I thought it was a good idea, that owner should be charged for the police having to come out there excessively for your same building for the same problem they tell you there was a problem before. So can we flip that now to a business that's crying wolf on African Americans who were just there to patronize or around the store, possibly could. You know, it might have to be looked into to see the legalities of it. But if there's too much crime wolf and the sky's falling down, and you know, when we just had and the police taking that resource and going over there, I think possibly that person should be charged a surcharge in regard to that, and taking away the police from other areas where it's more important versus some frivolous charge or call.
Right.
Yeah, but I think maybe that could be looked into. You know, you got to establish a record, you know, of what's been done, and then probably alert the business person that, you know, you're going to have customers who you like or who you don't like.
Right. That's right.
But you just have to act accordingly about it.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That was the hardest question, because that simple phone call has lost a lot of lives just from calling 911 and false claims being made. But on that note, it's been a pleasure, you know, kicking it with the next councilman of the first ward?
The first ward.
Rob Johnson.
Thank you there, Mr. King. It's been a pleasure being here tonight.
Yes,
I really enjoyed it, and you had a lot of questions.
Yes, that's right. Got to put him under the fire. And I like this gentleman.
Yes.
And we had that many questions.
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah.
You know?
It was a pleasure me being here tonight, and I look forward to all you people out there in the first ward coming out on Tuesday, June the 4th, to vote for Robert L. Johnson for councilman of the first ward. Thank you for coming and joining me tonight here with Mr. King. Thank you.
That's right. Peace and blessings to all. Jamez King L from Jamez King in the Morning. And it's, like I said, it's a pleasure. And to make sure y'all ready for election time. Out.